points at minute 0. A good old 10 points coming out there. Absolutely insane value.
Thank you, PTP.
A little bit of a bump up.
We always appreciate it. Look at this. Keyd Stars. Cheeky Smoke, barely missing out on TA 2000, sadly. We'll wrap around through the dire jungle, see if they can make their way to the top boundary rune spot. Quest is hanging around their own smoke, but it is about to wear off. See if they do kind of anticipate this rotation from the Keyd Stars. It seems like not so much. They're looking to run bot perhaps and not really give up an opportunity for first blood. The thing is as well, with the draft of Keyd Stars at level 1, it is naturally going to be a lot stronger. So you'd much rather not go into an early team fight if you can avoid it as Quest.
Yeah. We'll see if they'll commit. I think as long as they're split up away from the Undying, it should be all right.
The battle begins.
Kaori, I highly doubt he tries for this. I mean, he could go Icarus Dive and give it a crack, but it's probably not worth it. He'll just leave it alone. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade anyway. You can get to the laning stage. Of course, you're going to have Analog in the mid lane, and he's going to be up against Noob on the Pangolier in the mid lane. So the Panga versus Primal Beast matchup is upon us once again, Jonathan. What do we need to know about this one?
This one goes pretty back and forth. It does, if I recall, the way this matchup tends to work, it does feel like the Primal Beast does pull ahead. Just easier for him to trade, for him to commit onto the Pangolier. Pangolier have some play, especially with Shield Crash, but once you hit level 2, that's when the Primal Beast can kind of kick it up. Interesting to see that Analog does decide to go for a value point in Uproar, in comparison to Noob, who never gets Uproar until he gets 4-4 on his first 2 skills. I'm keen to see how much Analog can do, because this is something that Noob understands the ins and outs of. You know, he is one of the best Primal Beast mids, so he also knows how to play against it, and he also knows how to crush this matchup as a Primal Beast, so he should be able to know what a Pango needs to do to counteract it here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What about those side lanes? I mean, top lane, you've got TA 2000 and Kaori against FCR and, of course, Kingrd. The Spirit Breaker off lane, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like it can work here in this matchup, but at least for now, FCR not having the best start here at all against TA 2000 and Kaori. And I don't imagine this lane's going to get too much easier for him either.
No, I mean, a melee matchup for a Medusa always feels good. TA 2000 should just be able to farm. Most of the harassment coming out here from our Sky is also just ending up onto the Phoenix. Kaori is not going to care too much about trading this way as well. Kingrd, it can't do too much to stop the Medusa. Again, you don't have a way of just burning through the man shield very early on in that lane. So it's going to be a relatively quiet lane for FCR and just a free farm lane for TA 2000, which is concerning. Like, if you can dip out as this Phoenix, leave this lane a little bit by
Kingrd
and stack up.
Force TP away. Kaori looking for the final hit, won't be able to get it. Nice TP from Kingrd, but he is going to have to make the walk of shame back towards the laning stage, and it's pretty rough. Like, even for the Skywrath Mage, just getting kind of harassed out like that by Kaori, not going to be really setting up a good precedence for this top lane.
No, certainly not. And it sets a really good tone for Quest. Again, this is something we talked about. Their lanes just look extremely strong. Top lane is, again, the more passive defensive lane, which works out in TA 2000's favor. The bot lane is where you would find a few issues early on. Again, up against an Undying, Tide doesn't feel great, but KG's already out of mana. And you're still doing relatively fine for Tobi in terms of just holding his own on the Tide, riding through these first 2 levels is when the Undying feels like it should be getting more.
FCR, they're going to try for Kaori. Kaori, though, he's got the spirits and he's got the Icarus Dive, so FCR now the one in danger as he will dive right in and does secure the kill as Kingrd trying so desperately to secure the kill, but he can't get it. Kaori at least will have his self cancelled. Kingrd still trying to chase, but the concussive shot's on cooldown. He can't chase him down. Oh boy, I mean, Kaori is really just running circles around this top lane. It has gone disastrously right now for Keyd Stars.
I love the way they position themselves as well. They're covering each other really well in Quest. Like, you see that aggression come out. TA2000 stands right next to the Sky, so the concussive shot goes to the Medusa instead. And they just share that damage really well. Again, this lane up top is pretty much a wash for Quest. Already 21 to 14 for TA2000, and no presence at all from FCR. It's like 7-8 to 1 on a Spirit Breaker. No opportunities to rotate earliest is here from the off lane onto mid. Like, you're gonna have to just try to soak up as much EXP as possible and mitigate these losses here.
Now, what about that bot lane? Like, that's the one lane we haven't talked about at all yet. You've had Costabile and KJ against Tobi for now, as Tobi does not have his Hoodwinker support at the moment. OmaR did rotate to the mid lane. Speaking of mid, Analog's trying to go for a bit of a harass attempt onto Noob, but he doesn't seem very concerned about it. They will go for the trample now, but Noob is going to be just fine to walk out of there. But the bot lane, while we have a second, John, how's that been going?
Yeah, this one, again, it's been pretty all right for Quest. Like, you're not finding the best of form from Tobi, but he hasn't died. This is immediately tied into an Undying lane. You know, it's a standard Undying plus ranged hero lane as well. If you're not burst down mid.
Yeah, mid lane, he'll go for the onslaught away, but the chase is still on. OmaR obviously not in range for a bushwhack at the moment, so can't really stop the Primal Beast from just running. So a nice little escape as top lane. Kaori again being jumped, but no, he's the one to jump back in. Kingrd is gone. FCR, at least he's going to be okay. But it's so rough for the Skywrath. Even as Kaori's about to drop, they just can't deal with the Phoenix. Mid, Analog dropping very low, but again, the onslaught away is going to be just enough to allow him out of this one. They will give him the bottle refill here for Analog, but again, a very rough start here for Keyd Stars.
Absolutely is. Like, again, Noob understands this matchup up against Primal Beast. He's played Primal Beast versus Pango multiple times. He's done a great job of managing this lane. He is going to have to walk all the way back for a little bit of a reset and top up. No one can really TP in for him. So that is giving some room for Analog to soak back in. He's about to hit level 6 now on that Primal Beast. So they've got some timing to play with here to get aggressive if they can collapse onto someone. Unfortunately, that combination we were talking about with Sky is going to take a little bit longer, though.
They're trying onto Tobi, but Tobi just casually walks away. And KJ dropped the tombstone, but it really did him no good whatsoever. At the very least, you aren't feeding the tombstone away, which is good news. Seems like Quest are having some more issues as well, so we are going to need a quick pause before we can continue. A bit of a rough attempt there. Like, Tobi just casually walked away on the tide. Now with Tombstone down, it seems like OmaR wants to make the rotation back down towards the bottom lane to see if he can set up on someone.
Yeah, I mean, again, you've got the synergy with Tide Hoodwink. You have the level 1 Gush, you've got the Blightstone. The right-click damage coming out from Hoodwink and Tide, if they manage to collapse onto someone, is not to be underestimated. And KJ's already out of regen. At least has the 1 Healing Lotus ready on hand, but not much else. So he's got maybe just 1 spell cast on the K, and it's just not going to be enough to dissuade the side of Quest. Again, every single lane for Quest looking fantastic. For the side of Keyd, they kind of need to wait for some level 6s to be on. Mainly Kingrd. If they can get that Sky 6 and connect with this play that they can do globally via charge or just through the Primal Beast with Pulverize, there is a lot that you can get done. Like, this is a ganking squad lineup for the side of Keyd, but it's just the EXP difference that has me concerned. If they can manage to snag away maybe that extra EXP rune from the side of Quest, things start to look up a little bit more, but I don't see anyone from the side of Keyd sneaking that far into Quest control area just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose KJ could try for it, but it highly doubt he gets away with it. Like, OmaR's already on the way to at least be, you know, within range to get that Wisdom Rune. And of course, you always have the TPs back towards the tier 2 bottom tower if you need it. Well, I mean, I suppose top lane we might see a bit. Is Kaori going to die? Analog, he should have it. Pulverize out. They've got the concussive right behind, so Kingrd going to help out, and Analog will take the kill. There's your first kill coming out for Keyd Stars.
Yeah, not the biggest kill, but an important one to find. Getting some activity out as well for Kingrd. A little bit more EXP going out to the Sky. That does mean you're pretty fine on TA2000. You're not going to be threatened for a kill. There was that clump up down bot, but they don't manage to get that going as well for Quest. You know, just secured her Wisdom Rune, it looks like, and get some stacks going from OmaR. I mean, going back to your point about the Luna versus the Dusa matchup here, you also kind of outfarm as the Medusa, right? Like your split shots, clearing out camps feels a little bit easier. You're always hitting 4 targets. So you're always having kind of a good time and just clearing out these stacks as they come out. I like the itemization as well from TA2000, just going fairly farm accelerating, you know, going for the Midas early, trying to get some EXP, getting a fast timing into the Manta. You can start to play pretty damn early once that full Manta styles up. So I like this. There's just nothing to punish this kind of greed coming out from Quest with the immediate Midas buildup. You know, nothing to interrupt that gold farm here for TA2000.
Another bottle refill here for Analog in the mid lane. So they aren't going to try and attempt the life of Noob. He's just going to be able to casually pounce out of it. Pretty quiet across the map. OmaR's leaving bottom lane again, though mid lane they are making the jump in now onto the Pangolier. Tombstone even dropped just in case they needed it, and it seems like it will prove to be enough. Noob is down.
Oh my god.
OmaR, maybe in a bit of danger as the zombie is just giving full vision over the hoodwink. And that'll be another OmaR to go down, FCR to take the kill. And great rotations out from Keyd Stars now. So they'll even find kaori, who has Icarus Dive available, though he wants silence and the chase is still on. kaori, he gets it off, but it doesn't matter. He is down.
That was really clever coming out from Keyd Stars. KJ, he starts this game with a Quelling Blade, uses it on that attempt for the save coming out there from OmaR, cuts down the tree, ensures that the Bushwhack does not connect to interrupt that Pulverize, and that just nets them that chain of events. Gives them the confidence to kind of start working lane. You know, they equalize in the kill board 4-3. 1K lead still stands for Quest, but you are starting to put a bit of a damper onto the timings of Noob, right? Like the Fusel timings thrown off. We're not seeing too much activity coming out from Noob as well. He's copying the pressure. This is a lot of space to be created for the Dusa though. I think overall you're happy with kind of trading that way. Like the Pangolier doesn't necessarily need too much farm, and they're just focusing onto that mid. Heck, they're even allowing Tobi to just farm up on this Tide. So I don't think you're in a bad position for Quest, even though it's your mid dying. You still got Dusa farm. You might not be too happy about Noob dying twice in a row, but they're not fully committing just yet.
Analog, gonna see OmaR. Noob is around, does have the Rolling Thunder as well, but will cancel. Won't bother trying to use it. It's like the Keyd Stars do not want to keep going for that fight. Analog will back his way out. There's just no action happening from Quest yet, though they do smoke up as 3 now. So it seems like they're ready to try and make these plays happen as they do smoke and run towards the bottom side of the map. They might find themselves Kingrd, but no, Analog, he's going to be the one to get jumped. Noob, he was the only one in though. Just preemptively jumping in as now the Tombstone has been dropped by KJ. And that's going to be enough to force Quest back. They don't want to mess around with this, though OmaR was still being chased, but it's not really going to amount to much though. Noob, hold on a minute, he does get silenced up, but it's still not going to matter because he just gets to the high ground. Nothing coming of it yet, though. FCR now going for the charge out, and he does get the kill. Oh, perfect. OmaR also caught out. FCR finding a double. Gets him mid-rolling thunder. Just nothing Quest could have done about it.
Middle tower is under attack.
No, I mean, even the Rune was playing against them. Analog picks up a regen, uses that to dive past the tier 1, catching the side as well. And you are getting a lot of space out for Quest for both the Tide and the Dusa. But the sacrifices that Noob is having to make, again, throwing off this diffusal timing, throwing off the support EXP gains as well. Like, Egg is almost there, almost ready for kaori, but not quite. And I love this play. You know, key to immediately take over that triangle, clear out some of the large camp. Ancients, not something they can fully take out. They are trying to equalize and provide that footing for Costabile to play his game. Like, attention's taken away from Luna. Even though you're still a little bit behind in farm, you're not being contested now on this hero. So you've got the room to play with this Mask of Madness and get your own build-up going on this win condition for Keyd Esports here.
They certainly do. Keyd, in a very strong position so far, 7-3, very slight net worth lead their way. So the main thing you've got to be worried about, of course, is TA2000, who is just constantly free farming up at the moment and is already 1.2k ahead of the Luna. So that is going to be a point of concern, I'm sure, as he does already have the Midas up as well. And Quest, they are certainly taking their time with this game. They are in no rush to try and force any kind of fights.
Tower is under attack.
OmaR's been walking between the bottom and mid lane for like the whole game now. The poor guy's just been stacking as he goes, but this is all about he has to do. No lanes to farm for him, no action to happen. Still level 5 as well. Just got to stack the camps.
Yeah, the fact that they're not able to really work mid is giving a lot of rune control to Keyd Stars. Double damage coming out for Analog, has the Blade Mail, feeling confident on this Primal Beast at level 9. And they're just constantly looking for smokes. The smoke does break there, they don't manage to find anything, but they can get a pretty good shove in onto that mid-tier 1, no problem here.
There goes Kaori. Kingrd able to secure that killers. They do get the mid-tier 1 tower. With a nice set of events happening here for Keyd Stars. Quest, they'll start focusing on those ancient stacks that were made as well, so TA2000 will go ahead and clean those up. Well, top lane, it seems like that they are going to start setting up for the top tier 1 tower. So Analog is rotating with the double damage rune, will try to get that done himself. And again, it seems like Quest are not exactly interested in trying to force a fight. They're going to all TP down towards the bottom side of the map, trying to just secure and farm that area and maybe get the bottom tier 1 tower. But certainly the structural trades are working in the way of Keyd Stars at the moment. They are getting away with just way more than what Quest are. They will try to trade the bottom tier 1 tower now. There is time for Keyd Stars to rotate and try to force a fight if they so wish, but seems like they're going to walk the old-fashioned way, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think you mind too much surrendering bot tier 1. Heck, you've got the tombstone already committed from KJ just to hold off on this push, but it's just going to be some free gold coming out here for Tobi. Full pipe up for the tide should help in mitigating some of this early magical damage. KJ.
He's going to try and... No, he will cancel. Can't get through the twin gates. Understands he's just dead. He'll pop the ulti as well while he's at it, but he is certainly just down. Nice little pick up there for Quest, as they do also find the bottom tier 1 tower. And it's back to the farm game now between these two teams. I mean, it does still feel like Keyd are the ones that might need to continue the aggression, but it seems like they're pretty happy with the position they've got themselves in at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're in a decent spot. They do manage to find kaori. So FCR, again, start to build up on the Spirit Breaker after a pretty damn slow lane, a few rotations out with the Midas up. And here is just, again, just looking for these softer targets to burst down. Phoenix, the only way he can really survive that onslaught is by perhaps committing the egg, but that's not the ideal use case here for Quest. So you're playing to your strengths well on Keyd. They're invading that top jungle. They're buying a ton of space out for Costabile. He's got some good ancients of his own kind of stacked up here as well. Manta not too far off. The timings of Redusa and of our Luna are fairly close to each other in terms of itemization at the very least. So we'll have that play. I think the one concern for Quest is really on how Noob plays this game, because he will always be the target of the Ancient Seal. If not him, then I can see Kaori from being blocked from trying to get the Phoenix dive and egg.
Oh, Analog.
And
this could be a big one. Smoke is broken. They should know he's on the high ground somewhere, that they are continuing to try and sneak around, but it's too late. Analog does leave the area. Of course, there was vision on the high ground from the Radiant side, saving the life of the Primal Beast. Quest, they are unable to secure anything out of this. So very nice vision game from the side of Keyd Stars to allow Analog that information.
Yeah, they had some good game sense coming out. The war does get taken out. They've got good forward vision as well from Keyd, watching that top lane, top jungle area, and the top jungle itself as well. So they've always got a little bit of a clue as to whether or not Quest are trying to get greedy and playing their own side of the map, where, again, it doesn't feel like they have the best control. A 3K lead coming out for Keyd, playing to this momentum early on. I think, again, the major concern for Quest here is that Ancient Seal, right? Like, if any of your big heroes get silenced up, whether it's the Phoenix, the Tide, or the Pango probably being the most disruptive one to Ancient Seal up, and then your counter initiation falls flat for Quest. So you can see what the solution will be from Noob is, whether or not he wants anything defensive or just tries to play the pickoff game and instantly hunt down that Sky before anything can come out. It's easier said than done right now, especially with the way the game's going. You've got the full Atos up and running as well on Kingrd. So he can just set up for a solo combo here if he does find a good target to go for.
And he just may. I mean, OmaR is around. They're going to bring in the Primal Beast again. It's like OmaR does cop the concussive shot as Kingrd. He does get the run of Atos into the Mystic Flare, but it is shared. We'll make sure that OmaR does not go down for free like that. Back into the T1 mid tower they go. Quest really wanting this, but looking to start the fight onto Kingrd. The Skywrath dropping very low and is set to fall. Nice easy pick off there for Quest. And the T1 mid tower also dropping quite easily. It seems like Keyd Stars now the ones to retreat as they just do not really have the best options in terms of a fight.
You can see that investment onto Tobi just paying off massively. Just pops the pipe. Suddenly that solo combo play from Kingrd is just not going to do much. The barrier early on just does a lot of work. Trying to chase up Spirit Breaker. FCR just a little bit too fast. You are starting to hit critical mass now as well in T2000. Mantis saddle up. Maya's just constantly being used. Butterfly next for Yusa. That's going to put a big question mark onto how Keyd's going to handle that. And you can't magically burst her down with a pipe up. You can try to single try, you can try to control her up and pulverize, but
shot down. They've got the push on FCR, but you already had the bulldoze on, so it does not last very long. Karun, 18-minute mark. They're going to try and go for it, but it's not up the top lane. And now the Ravage does come in. It seems like they are going to go onto Kingrd. And they've got the Skywrath. Nice, easy pick-off once again. They'll go for a bit more. KJ, trying to run. Should be okay as they do not land a bushwhack on anyone. At the very least, though, Quest do get what they came for, which is the haste route. In fact, Analog gonna get jumped down here by Noob. Does go for the Rolling Thunder, but there's your charge in again from MCR, and he gets blocked by the staircase. He does not get to the high ground. FCR still trying, does avoid with the Nether Strike. He'll get away. OmaR's the one to go down as now Analog, though, he's in big danger. They'll drop the egg, they'll drop the Sunray. Analog still trying to fight, but can't do it. He is down. And with that, Quest will accept the trade they get and they'll leave.
It's a pretty massive commitment out from Quest. Egg, Ravage, and even the Stone Gaze coming out there from 2000. It does provide a little bit of an opening for Keyd. Rather unfortunate in the earlier part of that fight when it broke out in the high ground right before they grabbed that haste rune. The charge did push away from the Mystic Flare right on the edge. Even then, again, if you don't manage to pin down the tide, prevent that Pipe of Insight from coming off, your magical burst isn't really lining up here for Keyd. 10-7. Rather even back and forth. 2K lead still standing up here for Keyd, but it does feel like they're not going to be able to sustain through that burst play that they're looking for, at least until their Luna comes in. Costabile is trying to work into the BKB to assist his team. If you can bring in Eclipse on top of this combination you've got with your Skywrath Mage and Primal Beast, then you're not too concerned about the Pipe of Insight. It can melt from the Eclipse, but you are asking for a Luna to just pop her long cooldown spell and trying to take care of a barrier, which also isn't the ideal circumstances for the Luna when she's trying to take these fights.
Now double damage room being found out by Noob. He'll bottle that one up for himself. Keyd Stars looking to maybe rotate up towards the top side of the map. They will hang around the twin gates at the bottom side though. Maybe prepping for a Roshan attempt, but it is a little bit too early perhaps for them to go for this. They certainly could, it just may take a bit too much time, and Quest may realize what's happening. The Analog seems to want to go for this. Quest are not too far away. They're currently in the Dire Triangle, so they could certainly make their way over if Roshan does begin. And it seems like it will. Keyd Stars, they are running all the way towards the Roshan pit. Quest seem to maybe have an idea this could be happening as they are hanging around the bot lane, just pushing out the creep wave. We'll see if they pick up on it. It's a big win for Keyd Stars if they get away with this for free.
And would be. This is a scary area to fight into though. If Tobi can kind of jump in with a Ravage, that can work in their way, but Tobi's not quite in the area. Not going to be able to contest. Not the fastest rush, but should still go the way of Keyd Stars. You've already got that full heart and Analog as well working into the Ags. So gonna have a lot more front lining on the Prime Beast, and we'll be able to take that Aegis. So you've got the safety net for Costabile with that fresh BKB. They can start to look to make things happen now, though. They are trying to chase FCR.
They will try. FCR doing a very good job of just juking out the swashbuckle though, and does eventually just charge away. No problems here for FCR. Very close to that Aghanim Scepter as well on the Spirit Breaker, so he's going to have a very good time very soon. Speaking of Aghanim Scepters though, Noob does already have his now on the Pangolier, so kind of keep a lookout for that one in the next team fights. I think the Spirit Breaker Axe is the one I want to keep an eye on. It is a pretty scary axe to play against once it is up. Like that 8-second cooldown, it is very annoying.
I mean, he already has the Octarine, so it's basically like he has the Ags anyway at this moment. It would be a little bit sillier once you have the full Ags up, but he already has that impact he's looking for. Just running around the map, making space, trying to force a response out, wasting some time. That did help them secure that Roshan there, just his presence up top. Now there is that full Ags you're talking about. So 6-second cooldown from 9 seconds. Very balanced for Spirit Breaker.
It certainly is. I mean, in the middle of these team fights, it is very, very annoying to just get constantly charged. Especially if you can land that charge on a couple heroes, it can be very detrimental here for Quest. It's a decent way as well of controlling TA2000 these fights. Like if you just want to try and make sure she can't do anything in the middle of these fights, just have FCR just constantly charging her. You know, just what's she gonna do?
The funny thing is, it's not the most straightforward Spirit Breaker game to just keep charging around, especially when you're isolated, just because of dead in the water. So, it's trying to charge with an anchor hook to your ankle is not going to be the comfiest of times for FCR. That is one way Quest can kind of try to mitigate that issue here. We'll see. And the game has slowed down. 2K lead coming back way of Keyd, but you are still number one in that fort right now for TA2000. He is soaking up all of the form for his team. Noob and Tobi not getting quite as much investment as you are seeing out from Keyd Stars, with their farm distribution being a lot smoother between the three cores. But again, you don't need to work with too much here for Tide and Pango. And honestly, the next step here for Quest is probably just some like Lincoln spam. Like if you can just block charge or at least block Letter Strike onto the Dusa, you feel pretty safe for Quest to start engaging. And we still haven't seen Quest take a big 5v5 with that Ravaging Egg and the Stone Gaze. We saw all those spells used at once, but only on one hero. So we haven't seen that big 5v5 just yet where Quest lineup theoretically does shine.
Well, he's a smoke up. 3-man smoke from VKS. Seems like they'll head towards the Dire triangle. In fact, never mind that, they'll head towards the top side jungle of the Dire. Thing is, Quest seem to have a very good idea that this is happening because they're hanging onto the high ground. So just completely avoiding the smoke of Keyd Stars here. Lines have been drawn right towards them, but I doubt they want to dive the tier 2 tower. They will run towards the bottom tier 2 instead. So they're just going to try and take a tower for their trouble. If you can't force a fight, just take a tower.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it is still Luna, so there's some good laning pressure that can come out from Costabile. And just having one set of racks exposed, one high ground exposed that you can kind of pierce into with Luna and her illusions from Manta does pose a threat to Quest in this war of attrition. Like eventually that will shove in, and you will take damage on high ground, and that's not going to feel too comfy here for Quest.
And they'll walk away as soon as they see the TP rotations coming in. They're more than happy with that. Keyd Stars, they will leave the area, wait for another day to come back, as they will go into the tier 2 mid tower now instead. TA2000 is going to show up, and Tobi is right behind him in the tree line. Costabile actually doing some decent work of draining her mana as well with these glaive hits. Tobi's going to make the jump in. They want the Primal Beast first, though he's a bit of a tanky boy, but maybe not so much. The Sun Ray comes in, and it's all too much.
Oh my God.
Even the Ravage right after. They've got the Undying to boot. Costabile lost the Aegis out, and with that, Costabile, he might just be going right to the graveyard. T is down, TA2000 able to secure a double kill. At the very least, Kingrd was able to TP out of there, but it really was a terrible team fight here for the side of Keyd Stars.
Now they just kind of got forced in, and this is what we were talking about with Quest's lineup. Ravage, Egg, Stone Gaze, Rolling Thunder, way too much to kind of deal with all at once. They're at least playing poke really nicely with Noob, but they're not going to be able to pin down that Pangolier long enough. And now you've got room for Quest to try to work the map. Get a little bit of a shove in on mid. They're not going to be able to fully commit for the objectives, but they take away the threat of the Aegis and Costabile. And you can see what happens when you leave a Deuce alone to farm. You know, this takes me back to a lot of, really, when I think of Deuce, I kind of think of, 9 Pandas games with Ramses. You know, it's just kind of one of those heroes you leave alone for 10, 15 minutes in the jungle, comes out with Butterfly Scotty, and even with an Aegis, you can't really touch her.
Certainly felt that way. It's just one Ravage with a huge Sun Ray. The Medusa wasn't even touched, basically, after the glaive hits. Was able to freely do whatever she wants. I mean, at least for Costabile, you kind of see that he can deal with the Medusa's mana pool at the very least. So you've got that going for you, but that's assuming that he can actually just stand there and hit her. Which that last team fight, that was certainly not the case. So we'll see if he finds the opening he requires to get all the damage he does need in the next fight. But so you're just going to be worried about those big ultis coming up from Quest, which make it very, very hard to do anything. It's something we kind of mentioned in the drafting phase. Like, once you get into these 5-on-5 fights, who's focusing the Egg, who's focusing the Rolling Thunder, you know, who's trying to control Tobi before he ravages? It's all very hard. All these decisions need to be made on the fly.
Yeah, and there's no straightforward answers either for Keyd anyway. I don't know how they're gonna have to try to split that responsibility up. Like, even if you've got this high durability from Spirit Breaker and from Primal Beast here for FCR and for Analog, you're playing into Phoenix. Like, if this Egg is left alone with Sunray, it's a percent-based damage. Your hearts, your strength means nothing as they manage to catch FCR.
They have anchored up FCR. Mule's out as well. He does have an undercharge though, so chances are he should be okay. Though Bushwhack is going to land very well, but it doesn't matter because he has a BKB. And he will just be able to charge again any moment now. There we go. Easy peasy.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Maybe he's still trying. Maybe not so easy, but he will still get away. Analog though.
Let's still haste it up.
Bushwhack's gonna land. They've got the Primal Beast. Nice little jump away though with the Ogre Still Totem. We completely avoid the Rolling Thunder hit, and that'll be enough.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Good use of space here from Keyd, or good creation of space. They're managing to take over top off the back of all of that movement from Quest. Costabile gets to soak up farm. I believe he is pretty much at his Silver Edge flying out. Some more output there for Luna. Some angles to run away.
Tobi.
Another dead in the water here.
Yeah, they're gonna try. I mean, he's leashed for a long, long time, so this could be a kill to come out, but no, the 4-star with the Ravage. It's going to land on 2 targets. In fact, make that 3s. They even found the Undying, but the Primal Beast still running. The Onslaught not going to be enough yet, but the Ogre Still Totem, it gives him the space, but not quite. They just chase him down. Analog is gone. 2 for the price of nothing for Quest.
Dire's
Keyd Stars, it's just another team fight that they cannot take when these spells are up.
Yeah, they just can't fight into it. Ideally, I think if in this kind of circumstance right now for Keyd, if you manage to survive in your Primal Beast, while those spells are down, those are massive cooldowns outside of Rolling Thunder. You can force the issue then, but without the Primal Beast, with just your Spirit Breaker for FCR, it's not going to be enough. You're not going to be able to find openings. And the side of Quest just playing perfectly. You know, they're maintaining this aggression still with Tobi and with Noob. They're buying a lot of space out for Keyd.
They might try now. They might try now. When the spells are down, when the Ravage is not available and the Egg is not available, they could try to go for a fight, but they TP both supports down towards the bottom lane, but it doesn't seem like they were interested in a fight to begin with. Maybe just ensuring FCR was going to be quite safe, and it seems like he will be.
Is under attack.
Everyone else in the meantime just leaves the building. Top lane, Tobi's being charged. Tobi goes for a TP out though, but a nice Lucid Beam. Costabile cancelling it off as now the charge does land, but the Kraken Shell is going to ensure that he doesn't really even get stunned. It's kind of the hard thing, like you're charging a Tide of all things. Chances are he's not going to die.
No. That was so hard to pin down. You even had the neutral camp, kind of get a stun off onto Costabile to cut off that chase. They are set up for Roshan. It has spawned down bot, so they do have an objective to play for, but Quest aren't giving this one out for free anymore.
They are going to go in with the ulti of the Primal Beast. The Pulverize landing, though, it doesn't really do too much against the Phoenixes. Now the jump is there onto Analog. Analog copying so much damage already. Bushwhack to land as well. He's really got nowhere to go. Still trying to walk out of this one. Meanwhile, Costabile going to move back in, trying to go after Medusa, who is out of mana now. Maybe they can do a TA2000, but he's going to man up. Costabile is gone. They will at least find the Medusa. But Analog still dropping very, very low. We'll turn around again with a Pulverizer. Now FCR taking down OmaR. They will finally get Analog down. FCR still fighting, but the Ravage does eventually come out from Tobi. Noob's on an Ultra, looking for the Rampage, but the charge away. Not going to allow it. Ultra kill for the Pangolier though.
Yeah, that's massive. I mean, they managed to identify the targets well on Keyd, jumping the softer supports, ensuring that the Phoenix Egg wasn't going to go off, ensuring that the Sunray is not a factor to kind of instantly burst down or just constantly burn down your Prime Beast here. That's what made that fight really awkward for the side of Quest. You also jumped really aggressive there for TA2000. Like, he just blinked forward, no cares in the world. That does prevent the side of Keyd from going for the Roshan. Does allow a little bit of a reset for Quest. No Ravage for the next fight, but they do have the egg at the very least. And again,
they've got a Pango right now.
Lose that Phoenix.
Oh, Noob was getting charged there for a moment. So they do end up cancelling the charge off as they saw Noob going towards that die triangle. You are seeing the remnants of that last team fight, and Costabile trying his best to just try and take down TA2000, but TA2000 just manning up. They will eventually get it, but it just doesn't feel worth it at the end of that team fight. And speaking of team fights, we might have another coming right up. Roshan has begun once again from Keyd Stars. You don't have the Ravage to play with, but you do still have the Egg and the Stone Gates, plus the Rolling Thunder.
Again, this won't be a freebie. Scans out, and Quest aren't too far off.
This could be a rough team fight. Keyd Stars have got to be very, very cautious not to give this Roshan away. Noob looking to make his way in, does have the Rolling Thunder and does pop it immediately out onto the Primal Beast, who just gets destroyed, though no Tombstone. The grab does save for a moment, but not quite. He just gets annihilated here by the side of Quest as they do take the Aegis. There was a steal attempt from MCR, but he gets nothing for his trouble. He'll be forced to charge away. Nice attempt at least.
Yeah. Tried to look for the cheese, doesn't quite find it, at least doesn't lose his life. Not the biggest kills for the side of Quest to find at this point. You know, you're not killing off the Luna. You do find a support plus the Primal Beast, which is still a good target, but yeah, you're pretty happy in Quest. Just a straightforward take on the Roshan, straightforward contest. For the side of Keyd, and they're gonna have to try to play high ground. Again, this lineup excels at this. You know, it's like you're charging across the map, but it's not like you have backup there for you to play for that for FCR.
Bottom lane, they might try for the T2 tower now. 7k advantage the way of Quest. Don't know, it seems like they are splitting up again, going for a bit more of a farm game. No rush right now for Quest. They understand how strong they are at the moment.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Into the tier 2 bottom tower they go. TA2000 looking to try and just do this on his own. We'll force out a glyph here from Keyd Stars.
Radiant's bottom
who now just buys up the Swift Blink completely on here in the Medusa, so
is under attack.
Suddenly TA2000 even scarier. They have rotated a few heroes in. Looks like they have found OmaR, so a nice pick up onto the Hoodwink. But seeing that Quest, they just leave the building. They don't really care too much.
No. Again, not really high commitment out. Hoodwink doesn't really open up too much for Keyd with that pick off. They're finding something. It's not enough to stop Quest from just trying to play. They still have 3.5 minutes left on that Aegis as well, which is more than enough time to try to re-engage onto an objective. And there's still a lot of room to grow as well for Quest. Like, even if this game drags on, there's a limit to where your Primal Beast can take you. There's a limit to where your Luna can take you as well. Like, this is not necessarily the be-all, end-all late game carry in the Luna. You know, it's very tempo based. You could try to do something with, say, Ag's refresh down the line, but that also feels a little bit lackluster considering how durable the side of Quest is, unless you really manage to catch him off guard. There are no BKBs, at least from Quest, so that's some itemization they can consider. Again, for Keyd, playing into this pickoff style, like past, what, maybe 20, 18 minutes at around that game time, it just felt near impossible. Like you were finding some good forces on mid, but after that, it just hasn't lined up.
Oh, Tobi, he barely missed out on seeing the Primal Beast there. Analog probably thanking his lucky stars, though he might have an opportunity to go from the rear, but no, he gets under vision. They see the Primal Beast. And with that, he is still trying to run with the 4-star, but now the Ravage landing on 3. Tobi trying. The grab is there again. Analog still trying to walk away, but he is down. Tobi landed the easiest Ravage of his life. They do try and nether strike him, but he takes no damage.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think this game is really starting to get one-sided here between these two teams. And Costabile wasn't even there for the fight, to be fair, but pretty rough affair right now for Keyd.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Costabile can do too much. He's trying to split push up top, get some more farm going. Does lose his courier, so it's not going to be able to ferry items out while he's up north. Just only about a minute 40 left. That should clear out the rest of tier 2s as they find OmaR.
And that's sort of the one hero they can kill quite easily, but FCR, that's about all he can get for his team right now. It's certainly something, but it just doesn't do what you need it to do. It's back noon. Oh, okay, they're gonna find a free Skyrath kill. That's nice. KJ gonna go for a run, but he's being chased down by Noob, who doesn't even take the banner away from the Undying, and KJ is just dead. Suddenly 3 heroes down for the Keyd Stars.
Yeah, it's not looking that sharp here for Keyd. And again, Costabile is getting some space out, does manage to sneak out of that triangle. He's able to somewhat keep up pace with TA2000. It's just, I don't know where this farm goes from here. You know, again, like, we're talking about itemization, something like the refresh Ag's Blessing could be one way. That's still a ways off from being really built up. Quest, on the other hand, you've got room to grow on Tobi. You've got a lot more that can come out into Noob. He does have that full Skull Basher up. You've got the Hex still lined up here for kaori, more control coming in. For Keyd, it's now down to like spotting some mistakes from Quest, right? If you can get some forward vision out, try to look for moments where TA2000's exposed by himself. The Dusa is still manageable in a 1v3 circumstance. It's just finding those opportunities right now for Keyd is next to impossible. You know, they don't have the forward vision they need. They don't have the map control. They're not able to drag heroes on top of FCR's charges. They have at least managed to stall out that the Aegis has expired in TA2000. So no high ground attempts coming out from that Aegis backup, but they, you know, they're just losing map space now. It's down to, again, this moment that we've seen in this patch. Once you reach 40 minutes, you just build up.
FCR look to try and go after Noob, but the Lincolns is broken. FCR learning the hard way as Costabile, meanwhile, forced to BKB TP away from OmaR. Does get his way out. Charge away from FCR, and Kingrd going to do the TP away as well. So everyone getting out just fine here from Keyd Stars. Quest unable to find any kind of straggler. The lines have been drawn straight through the mid lane, it seems like. So Quest, they might just want to try and force a fight, but maybe going high ground. But they know at least Costabile won't have a BKB for another minute.
Gold for me.
Yeah, it's an opening. And the Luna without protection is just going to be such a sitting duck to all of this control, all of this output. They find a DD as well for TA2000 to pick up. And this is prime opportunity for Quest to force something to happen here.
Mid lane FCR. We'll see the Mantle Illusions of the Medusa. I mean, TA2000, he has a double damage rune right now, so you certainly don't want to run into him.
Radiant are scanning.
Onto the high ground they'll go. They'll have half the duration of the double damage left over. FCR, he'll go for the charge in to clear out the creep wave, but they do have the Yule Scepter. Thing is, can they hold him down long enough? It does seem like they can. Nice and easy. Preemptive sentry ward placement as well to ensure they saw him through that silver edge. TA 2000 now just going after the mid racks. Already finding the tier 3 tower. Gonna be the easiest racks of his life as he really just can't do anything to stop him at the moment. Tier 2000 still sticking around, but decides better off. He'll just back off. He's already got the melee barracks anyway. No need to waste his time on the range. He'll just leave the area.
Yeah. I think ideally before fully committing, they'd want these tier 2 towers gone first so they can try to go for the full megas. They can also just wait out next Roche, half a minute until we see that respawn timer. The side of Key trying to step outside their base while the retreat's there, but it's not a full back from Quest. They catch one person out. That could be a breach into the high ground, maybe even tier 4s if they find a big fight off the back of a misplay here from Keyd.
The lines are being drawn through the bottom lane. And Quest seem to want to head to that area. And Costabile, he is in position to push out the top wave again, though he does TP away, so never mind that. He's not going to stick around. He'll just leave the Manta illusions behind. Quest, they could hope for an early Roshan, and it seems like it's not going to be a bad time for it. It's about a minute away right now, so Quest may have the option to just wait for Roshan, and it seems like that's probably exactly what they'll do.
Yeah, just play into the pit. That's where they're really strong with all of these team fight spells. He'd have to find a way to break into that. Maybe a good charge with BKB in, a good onslaught into Pulverize with a BKB up here for Analog could be one way to do it. They get a good scan off. They have a charge going onto TA 2000. They've got some info to play with. They can collapse just correctly here.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They're going to wrap around at Radiant Jungle. VKS. They'll go around the Lotus Paw now. Really just go from the backside. See if they can find kaori, I think, is the one support they really want to get rid of before the fight starts. Kaori is making it rather hard with all these smokes available. And Quest will just hug the high ground, that they will start to move back towards the Lotus Pools where VKS have the high ground. Roshan just casually waiting for somebody to get started.
Has been killed.
KJ, he's up his courier, they'll make the charge in onto the Medusa. That's the target they want to start with. TA 2000, he's already lost all his mana, but he's still able to stand his ground because Costabile, he gets Stogazed up and he's down. He just gets destroyed. Kingrd down to boot. Analog trying to run. Ravage out from Tobi. He found another 3 targets. And with that, it's looking pretty bad. FCR still trying to save Analog. They will be able to do so, but Costabile, he's the big one. He came back into the team fight with a buyback, but he might be going right back to the graveyard if they do get him. Dieback on a Costabile. FCR, he does at least get the Medusa, but he dies himself. Team will buy back. They are coming back into the fight. Charge out on OmaR. They don't want to give Roshan away. Can they continue? The charge is still going. OmaR's the target. OmaR, he might just melt, but no, it does get cancelled. In goes Noob again. They really want that Spirit Breaker tieback. FCR, looks like he's going to be okay this time around, but Analog probably not so much. Analog is out of mana. He is down.
Good God. Costabile just blows up. Like he just can't stand his ground, BKB or not. BKB into trying to fight into Stone Gaze doesn't work out for him. Buyback into TPing in what looked to be decent. Couldn't instantly burst down TA 2000, and TA 2000 just does so much damn damage. Yeah, it's just it's uncontrollable at this point. Free Ags as well coming out for TA 2000, along with a shard. So you've got the Mystic Snakes bouncing around, dropping her to empty mana now. It's a much harder, much more arduous process in trying to deal with that Dusa. We have seen moments where the Deuce is exposed. It's just, how do you burst her? Where's your output? You know, it's like, it takes off your magic damage to drag her down to 0 mana. And your right-click output from Luna's just not enough to really rip apart
FCR
before she does damage.
He just solos the Hoodwink again. Just charges right in, takes the Hoodwink down. But OmaR, rather FCR needs a way out and he'll be okay. You love Spirit Breaker. This is what we love to see. Just to charge in, burst out a hoodwink, and just charge right back up.
Yeah, and he's stalling quite nicely, FCR. So that makes it a lot less comfy for Quest to try to force something out. They probably just are waiting for their Ravage to be off cooldown from Tobi anyway, so it's not the biggest deal in the world for Quest. 20k lead standing here for the side of Quest. Checking Dota Plus, win probability at 83% for Quest as well. So everything's kind of lining up. And we had some moments of brilliance early on from Keyd, but it's just this lineup. This draft is just so single target pick-off intensive. If you don't find that, then it can go south. They do have good vision right now, watching where Quest's at. Like, they have good vision in TA2000 in the triangle. They've got this forward ward in the bot jungle. They've got a ward right by their own middle area of the bot jungle, but yeah, they can't really play into it. So it's just a matter of waiting. If Quest somehow slips up, if they misposition themselves, provide an opening for Keyd to collapse and find them one by one, that's where the game opens up. But we haven't seen Quest make any mistake like that at all in this game.
No, certainly not. I mean, it was a strong start for Keyd Stars here in this game one, but that strong start has gone by the wayside now. As I mean, you're looking at Costabile on the Luna, like he's 13k behind the Medusa in terms of net worth. And while that may not matter so much anymore at the 47-minute mark, it still seems to. There's just too much tankability, too much damage coming up from this Medusa. Costabile at least now has the Aghanim Scepter coming out, so you do have that AoE Eclipse you can throw out from a mile away. That may make a difference here in this game, but we'll have to wait and see.
I feel like it needs to refresh. Like, just the Ags alone isn't going to be enough. It needs to be the double Ags usage, double particle cannon coming in. And that's still a ways off. You know, you don't have buyback. It's on cooldown anyway, I suppose, for Costabile, but you're in a dangerous spot now for Keyd. Like, you can... This does allow you to do some cheeky plays with Primal Beast and Spirit Breaker. So you have some follow-up damage for the charge in. Could see it in play if they want to go on noob, but no. If CR TP's out, they need to hold their ground on the high ground. They don't want to give any more openings with their mid already gone. T2000 doesn't care anymore, though. Daedalus in, Age is still up, just goes to town.
Nice little deny from Analog. He gets away with that. Range rank's already taken here by TA2000. He will not stick around for the melee yet. He's going to have to wait for the creep wave.
Tower is under attack.
Analog finding out the hard way they can't go for that D ward on the sentry. TA2000 still being very, very cautious, but does now make the move in onto Analog, who has lost half his HP pool. There goes your bottom racks. Nice and easy. Only one racks to go up at the top lane, and, well, they do have to get through a tier 2 tower first.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. The top lane is shoved in. That's where Keyd has been trying to play their own counter push, but looks like they might not even be interested. Just keeping the wave shoved in, maybe force the fight out and end the game here.
Well, Rolling Thunder pop preemptively here by Noob. He was hoping that Analog would stick around, but not so much. So he does just roll away. But they might run right into Costabile if he's not too careful. Costabile running towards the Roshan pit. Looks like he's going to be all right. He does need to be super cautious right now on that Luna because he does not have buyback for another 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's being a little bit cheeky. Should be able to cut the wave off with the Manta Illusions. Does have the TP to back out as well. And should be fine. Does manage to get that done. So buying more time and space. Quest does not address the top lane. They're not able to look for the tier 2 into the mega creeps just yet. And they give some time for Keyd. They're smoked out here.
TA2000, he just denies 3 creeps from the Manta Illusions. Such a nuisance. The 50-minute mark is now here. Quest still grouped up as 5 heroes, looking to maybe make a bit of a smoke rotation. They're just going to hang on the high ground for now, as it seems like Keyd Stars made their own 5-man smoke, but it obviously does not pan out for them. Like, it was either under vision or it was just good game sense here by Quest. At the very least, VKS, they do end up taking the outpost in the dire triangle. They'll see TA 2000 in the mid lane, but they don't really want to fight around her tier 3 tower. Pretty rough.
No, it's a hard target to go for. TA 2000 also has the full nullifier up, so you've got a way of kind of trying to keep a slow going on FCR. It's going to be a lot harder to just try to charge away now for that good old Spirit Breaker. Again, it's a tough game for Keyd right now. They're holding on. They've got one Rax, they've got a tier 2, one outer tower. They're playing outside, but they're just not able to find any openings. Like, they've got to be brave and try to get... They're trying to play around their vision, but Quest again has that read with the outpost taken. They just don't even bother trying to pierce into that area. And they can just, if they wanted to on Quest, they could just wait out till next Roche. Like, how do you fight into that pit? Keyd, we haven't seen any good way of him just trying to jump in there.
Yeah, they really haven't found the best opportunity, that's for sure. There's your refresher orb coming out now in Costabile, so you will have the double eclipse available. Mind you, he has no buyback gold, so he has spent all his gold on that refresher orb now. Still needs about 2.8k to have buyback available as well for the Luna. But perhaps that's the answer, like that double eclipse with the Aghanim Scepter. That may make all the difference here against this Medusa. In terms of just blowing her up completely and not worrying about having to right-click her. That might just be it. Analog?
Yeah.
Now he's looking for an opportunity on that Primal Beast. He's not going to find it quite yet. But they are watching TA 2000. Analog, he'll make the jump in. They do get the Eclipse off, but now the Ravage comes out, hitting really nobody on Tobi. The Medusa still dropping low, but she seems to be just fine. With the mana pool, she'll reset. Analog's the one going down, though they will heal him up with the Soul Rip and the Grab Ally just to ensure that he'll survive a little bit longer. But is it going to be enough? Another Soul Rip on Analog. He's still running away. And Tobi's the one to go down. Analog will survive another day. Who's typing? Somebody's just typing in the middle of all this.
Yeah, I think it's one of our other casters there. Maybe getting a little bit excited. That was a massive kill. Big buybacks being forced out from Quest, neutralizing their lead. And it's all down to the fact that with the double eclipse onto the Medusa, you don't have a BKB, and the pipe's not going to be able to keep you alive long enough. Like, it can only block so much damage. You don't have any saves here from the side of Quest unless you'd really want to count maybe something like kaori with an Ags. Perhaps could be one way. Sunray doesn't really help the Medusa too much, unfortunately. Not a high HP hero, so you don't really play off the sustain aspect of Sunray too much. But that is the reveal of that refresh, and it does pay off. All of a sudden, you're only about 1.2k away for Costabile to have buyback. You're in position to contest Roshan. You know, Quest is down after big team fight spells for a little bit longer. Roche is spawning up shortly, and you are in position for Keyd. They can actually try to reel in control of Roshan here. Free Ags to be given out as well. And who they'd hand that over. I feel like at this point, you probably give the free Ags over to Kingrd. Just have double of everything. Double spell spam with that shield of the Scion. Killing off the Sky in a prolonged fight. It's going to be a bit of a chore here.
And it will. Roshan gonna go the way of Keyd Stars now. Just the way of Costabile. They'll take the cheese on Analog, and Kingrd
double damage.
Looking for something. Let's get the eggs for himself. With that, I mean, Keyd Stars, it looks like they're back in the game now. It's a very even game. 54.5 minutes in between these two teams. Props for Keyd Stars for staying in this one and not giving up too early. Certainly paying off right now. And for Quest, I mean, you've had a 6-slotted Medusa for quite a while now, so she's running out of slots for these items at this stage. I'm not really sure what else she can buy out to try and change the outcome of the last fight. It seems pretty rough against the double eclipse.
I think just a fresh BKB at this point does wonders for you. Like, that's pretty much it. Just BKB, maybe you backpack the nullifier, swap it in when the BKBs pop. That should cover most of TA 2000's issues, because it was just the magical nukage coming out was a little bit too much. Pipe, again, is not enough to block that damage at this point in the game. So if Costabile can get the jump, if they can find this angle in with the frontliners they have to pop that Eclipse on, there are angles for the side of Keyd. Quest, they're gonna need some time to farm up. Like, even his readout from FCR, right? Just going for magical damage with Dagon, just looking for burst. It's such a good read as to where they're finding success right now on the side of Keyd. And this is them playing from 2 racks behind. The Quest from a commanding lead into 4K behind. Win probability is still leaning towards Quest's way at 64%. It's not completely over for them yet, but they've got to be able to execute. And they can't allow TA2000 to just get bursted down anymore. Like this Dusa has to be protected.
See how it all pans out. I mean, Keyd Stars, they're moving their way through the bottom lane now. TA2000 going to show up and defend. We'll just let the illusions do the work. With that Quest, they will be able to get away with this high ground defense for now. Costabile is still trying, but not going to be able to continue for now. Keyd Stars, but they are sticking around. Like, they don't want to give up this position. Perhaps through the mid lane they could try. Thing is, the high ground attempts are very, very challenging to get through here for Keyd Stars. So many heroes and abilities you have to worry about. Analog still looking for that right moment to make the jump in. Now even a refresh orb available though on kaori, so if you don't catch the Phoenix, he's gonna have that double egg as well as all the rest of the abilities he has. And that side device, don't forget. They'll make the jump in. TA2000, he does get caught. Tobi, he'll pop the Ravage. It only really connects on one though. TA2000 in the meantime, he will be able to back off the safety for now as they have lost the ages of Costabile there. That's not a great start here for Keyd. They need to get the hell out of here, but the Luna is just melting. No. Costabile is down. And there goes another. They have found Kingrd. What do you do? I mean, the Primal Beast even buys back for this, but it's all too late.
I'm surprised how he decided to take that fight.
Oh no!
Yeah, we're still chasing Analog.
Yeah, Analog, he just bought back. This is a real problem. He'll force out all the other buybacks here as FCR to make the charge in. The mana is low. TA2000, he needs to back out of there as the Dagon comes in. It takes out half his HP. TA2000, he finally does go down. They'll be able to get him. Pulverize out from Analog. That'll find Tobi and OmaR to boot.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Even a third, or rather a fourth is noob. What have you guys done?
Oh boy, they got too keen. And no buyback for 2 minutes here. On your Dusa, that's your high ground defense. Remember, you popped the refresh earlier in Costabile, but he didn't use that particle cannon. So he still had it on hand. The high ground push with Luna, it doesn't take too long. They're ripping right through that tier 3. I don't know if they can hold. Like, they don't have Ravage, they don't have Egg. They'll have Roll in a bit, but no Dusa. That's your damage, that's your hold.
Yeah, what a great comeback here from Keyd Stars, doing a brilliant job in making this game 1 work when it was looking so damn dire. FCR still just Dagoning up people. They'll make the jump in. Analog, he does get side devised up, but he is okay. In fact, he's the one moving back in now with the uproar. They're just holding them at the fountain as Costabile. He's just going after tier 4 towers. He's going right for the jugular. Quest need to find an answer to this, but nobody's around to stop the Luna. Analog's the target, but Analog, he is just making all the distractions here for the Luna. Costabile is still just going for the agent. So is FCR. But can they really defend? It doesn't seem like it. They'll try to disarm. They'll try to make the jump in. The Luna, the Hex out. Maybe they've got him, but no. She is still just going for the agent. GG is called. Wow, wow, wow. Keyd Stars. They managed to make it work for game number 1.